All right, we're live.
All right. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to our next installment of Harmony TV. This one is not live. This is a recorded version because Kristen is going to Disney. We are so
Yay!
excited. Yay. Speaking of, this is Kristen, my amazing partner in crime. She is the woman who keeps me on straight, as well as the woman who inspires me during these Harmony TVs. So, welcome, Kristen. Thank you so much. I am going to turn this one over to you because I think you
Okay.
have something to tell me or to ask me.
I do. I do. So you sent me a Voxer earlier this week. This was a lady who was in I think a menopause group that you are in. And she was talking about how she hadn't had her period for a year. So she was assuming she's in menopause. Now her period's back. And you left me this like majorly passionate Voxer message about this situation and told me that this is what you want to talk about on our next episode of Harmony TV. So can you take me back there to when you were leaving the message and you were all fired up?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So here's the deal. What I'm not here to do is to bash anybody who's in a Facebook group or anyone who's talking about things that might be upsetting to them. But what I am here to do is to empower women, to educate women, and to show women a different way to think and believe and live in this beautiful vessel that is their body, this body that they chose on a soul level, this body that they get to call home for some amount of time. For those of us, it's longer. For some of us, it's not as long. Aging is a gift, and I truly believe that. I believe that very, very much before, the end of June, and when everything happened with my mom, I certainly believe that even more now. So the posts that I saw in this group, I belong to this group. I add value when I can to this group as someone who helps women on their perimenopausal hormonal journey, especially women who have chronic disease, who want to shift the conversation around that, women, female entrepreneurs who are feeling burnout or feeling like they're having sleep issues or feeling like they only have 1 or 2 good weeks a month with their cycle and their business is suffering because of it, or they're having trouble showing up. So this post really impassioned me, and I'll tell you why. I see this and hear this all the time. Women wanting their cycle to be finished, women thinking that all of their problems are due to a bleed cycle. And here is where I want to change the conversation. I want to blow up that thought because hormonal disharmony is hormonal disharmony, whether you have a bleed or whether you don't. It happens for men, it happens for women. And what I feel really, really passionate about is explaining to women, showing women, leading women down the path of understanding that our body is always having a constant dialogue with us. So anything that we feel, any symptom, any kind of pain, any ailment, any chronic disease, anything, whether it's rosacea, whether it's pain in your hip, whether it's high blood pressure, whether it is a heavy period, whether it is skipping periods, it's all information for the body, for you to understand, collect the data, and then go about your daily lifestyle and rituals and find ways to greater support the body, because there's not a woman on this planet, there's not a man on this planet, there's not a child on this planet who is deficient in any sort of major pharmaceutical. Now, pharmaceuticals, as I said on our last Harmony TV, pharmaceuticals are there for us, but they don't actually change or they don't fill in the gap of what our body thinks it needs. Our body needs natural, real elements of life. It needs real sleep, it needs sunlight, it needs movement, and it needs real food that walks on the earth, grows on a tree, you know, flourishes from the earth, or swims in the ocean. That is what our body needs on a daily basis. So, having said all that, what I want women to believe, and if you take anything away from anything I ever say on any platform or any post, it is that our cycle, our hormones are here to help our body, to regulate our body, to keep our body in a constant state of some version of homeostasis, which means it's like a technical word for balance. But I don't really like balance for hormones because actually hormones aren't meant to be balanced. Sometimes of the month, our hormones are meant to be higher. Sometimes of the month, those hormones are meant to be lower. So that's not balance, that's a harmony. It's a harmony within each other. It's a harmony of how they work together. And it's a harmony of whatever stage of life that you're in. So if you're closer to 50, if you're closer to transitioning through this incredible portal of knowledge and wisdom and presence in your body, in your life, as a wise woman, as a queen of your queendom, then understanding how to work with your body is of mass importance. And our cycle, ladies, even if it's irregular, even if it's erratic, even if it's unpleasant, even if it's debilitating, is there as a guideline. It's actually working for us. It's telling us how we're doing on the month before. So if you have a very, very intense cycle, if you have only 1 or 2 or 3 good weeks of the month, that is your body communicating to you. We have this because we are the vessels that grow and sustain life. If we didn't have this cycle, we wouldn't be able to do that. So in willing it to be gone, you're actually shortening your span of really profound health that happens through hormonal harmony. How about strong bones? Strong bones are a consequence of particular hormones working in harmony. Heart health. Our hearts, our veins are more elastic because of our hormones. Brain health. Our brains begin to shrink as we age at a greater rate because our estrogen levels decline. So what we do on a daily, weekly, hourly basis makes a huge difference, not only in how we feel and how our cycle functions, but also out every decade that we gather in time as we age. So I just want to just completely blow up the concept that when your period ends, this perimenopausal symptomatic hormonal shitstorm goes away. It only, for a lot of women, it gets worse. For some women, it gets better. But this is a time of life to really feel what's happening inside you, to listen to the dialogue your body is always trying to have with you, and make shifts. So that post impassioned me because I think this is some sort of belief that women have that, oh, if I just take the pill, it will regulate my hormones. The pill doesn't regulate any hormones. It has a very high percentage of stopping women from getting pregnant. That's what it was designed for. That's what it does. That's what it's designed to do. And that's what it does brilliantly for most women, but not without side effects. Same is true for, procedures like ablations and things like that. They're meant to shift a symptom, but they don't actually get to the root of what's causing a symptom. Now, there are times, medically necessary times, where a woman needs to have a partial hysterectomy or a full hysterectomy, and those are very specific, and those are obviously diagnosed by a medical doctor, but they don't necessarily balance hormones. They don't necessarily take away hot flashes. It doesn't necessarily help you feel and get better sleep. It doesn't necessarily change your weight situation. Your hormones do that, and the body produces hormones well after menopause. So understanding how to work with your body, how to find harmony with these hormones that are always happening. Some are lower and some continue to lower as we age, but finding that harmony within our lifestyle, within our mindset, within our purpose work. Having a purpose is one of the greatest ways to not see your hormones as debilitating, because when you have a purpose, that purpose is driving you forward. It's showing you where you're meant to go. And sometimes, in spite of feeling pain, feeling discomfort, feeling tired, feeling weary, whatever it is, right? So I wanted to say that. Thank you for bringing me back here, Kristen, because I think this is a really important element for women to understand. Like, I hear this all the time. How can I make this symptom go away? I can't wait to be done with bleeding. Now, by the time you hit 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, of course, we've been cycling for at least 25, sometimes 30 years. And for a lot of women, they're tired of the monthly day in and day out of dealing with a cycle. That's a different story. But believing that your cycle, with the end of your cycle, with the quieting of the ovaries, the symptoms will go away. The debilitating feelings, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the rage, the depression, the anger, the excessive weight gain, that is shifting and changing partly because of hormonal disharmony, and partly a greater part of it is because of lifestyle choices and rituals you've created.
So would you say that most of the symptoms are really just your body trying to tell you something, and that by trying to get rid of the symptoms, you're not really getting the message?
Here we are. We live in an army base near a hospital, all right? Um, so for some women, I think it's definitely a disharmony in how the hormones are functioning. For other women, I think it's very individual. To answer that
Okay.
question, I think it's very individual and it's very unique. There are certain tendencies that are very similar. Um, for example, women who have sleep issues, there's usually a metabolic component to sleep issues because what we do during the day affects how we sleep, and how we sleep affects the following day in terms of cravings, in terms of how we move our body. Because when we're more tired, we tend to move
Mhm.
less, we tend to crave more simple carbohydrates for energy because, of course, we're tired. So I think for some women, it's definitely a hormonal disharmony. And I think for other women, it's lifestyles, like I said, lifestyle choices.
Okay. So, but even if women did have a hormonal disharmony, there are things that they can do
Always,
to support that, that are
always.
not necessarily medication, correct?
Always. There is not a single woman that I have ever worked with. Now, some women have miraculous shifts. Some women, have reported, a lot of women have reported feeling, totally different in shifting and changing lifestyle, certainly changing diet, and then adding in certain supplements, certain herbs, certain botanicals, things of that nature. Um, but there's not a single woman I've ever worked with who's said to me in working together for any extended period of time that what we're doing together isn't working and they haven't felt any shift at all. There's not a single woman, not one single woman has said that to me. So this is where I use the proof of working with women from all different parts of the world with all different backgrounds and all different economic situations. So I've worked with women in Australia, I've worked with women in America, in Central America, in Europe, all over Europe, Canadian women. Um, and basically, it just depends on the person. It depends on the stage of life. It depends on how long they've been dealing with a certain situation. It depends on their relationships, the people they surround themselves with. Who we surround ourselves with dictates how often and how quickly, a lot of the times, we can make shifts and changes. If we are around a lot of people that make us feel like what we're doing is futile, then it plants a seed of you can't win this battle. What you're doing isn't helpful. Versus when you're around people who are doing the things and changing their lives on a profound level, then you too believe it's possible for you. When we are surrounded by people, it's the same in business, right? I mean, I myself surround myself around women in masterminds, in programs, in one-on-one coaching myself, where I surround myself with women who are doing next level things from what I'm doing. And when I surround myself with those women show me what's available to me in business. And I believe that through a clear mind, through the lens of anything is possible. Because if you can step into your personal power and actually conquer the things you think are hard, the things you think are unconquerable, or the things that you maybe have tried a million things and nothing's ever worked until this one thing with this one person did work, it helps you to believe other things are possible. And this is where what's so interesting is in midlife, the entrepreneurial journey is a journey of sort of healing and connecting within and seeing what is possible as an individual, and then that grows your magnetism. And we do that through one of the ways we do that, of course, is through the lens of health, because I truly believe I am a walking billboard for what aging can look like, for what entrepreneurial spirit can look like. I mean, I have transformed my career many times in the span of 49 years. This is like career number 3. And I'm now running these 2 businesses at the same time as being a wife, a mother, a daughter who took a month off to help her mother heal from 2 very debilitating near-death experiences. And my mother also is living proof. It doesn't matter what age you are. So age is not, I mean, I was shocked at what my mom could accomplish in 4.5 weeks at 75 years old. Now, granted, she had me 24/7, for better or worse, as we like to joke in our household. But in having that, I proved to myself that this work isn't just work for midlife, that actually this work lasts decades into old age. And I don't even like to use the word old because I think of my mom as a very wise, very centered, very articulate person who is able to take the information given to her and make it her own. And now, having been gone, she's texting me every morning. She's telling me what she's doing. She's continuing on with the routines and the rituals.
Right.
And she feels stronger. She feels empowered. And she will, no doubt, change this last phase of life. Like, I mean, she's 75, right? So we can't say that she's got like 3 or more phases left or 3 or more, careers left in her. But definitely she could choose to do something else. She can choose to run something else. She can just choose to live a really woke, powerful, she would cringe at me using the word woke because politics has taken the word woke and like coerced it and made it into something else. I watched way more news living with my mom for a month than I ever have in my entire life. And I couldn't believe the words they're taking and changing. Anyway, I digress. But that was, I hope I answered that question. I did.
Yeah, you did, and honestly, I think it's interesting that you were talking about kind of going to this last phase of life because I think there's some women that, like, they wanna get over they have symptoms, they wanna get through this, they wanna stop cycling, but I think there's other women that wanna put that off as long as possible because they feel like then life's winding down, and I thought it was really interesting you talking about taking this last phase of life as, like, an opportunity to do all these things, to start new businesses and, your mom doing new things she's never done before and like being woke, like at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Because I think that, and especially in our society, there's this kind of obsession with being young. And so
totally.
it's an interesting concept to think of like this later life phase as this phase where you're really finally stepping into this power to do these things you've kind of always maybe wanted to do or just found out now you want to do.
Absolutely. That is a great point. And something I want to say to women in their 40s. I mean, I remember at 42, like I told you guys the story of like standing at my dishwasher and being like, there is something else. Like there is something more to life than, and by no means am I belittling motherhood. It is one of the greatest, most profound. I mean, I'm learning from my children, from my boys every single day of my life. They are profoundly amazing, interesting creatures. And also just being around boys that much, like just watching boys grow up, it's a trippy experience, literally as we speak. But the beautiful thing about this stage of life is we're getting these pangs. Like I remember at 42 having the pang of like, there is more than this. This is not the end. Like my 15, 17-year design career, like that was like a very unique and specific and really dynamic and like internationally, like really exciting dynamic time. But there was more, right? And I had no idea. I had no idea that there was this much more in me. And I honestly don't know that I will coach forever. Like I feel like there's yet another iteration of me, like whether it's running retreats and like, or maybe it's like teaching other people to lead women in this kind of way because like I am just one woman. I can only work with so many people. And then if I then, extend this information, this way of thinking, this way of learning out to others, like I just feel like there's more in me than just coaching. And so as I think about my life, as I think about the stages, I know that I see this growth and expansion through the lens of having the energy, having the strength, feeling powerful in speaking my truth and being very true to the things that I feel very strongly about. I mean, it's not easy to be an outlier and to talk about food and to talk against the established narrative. I mean, there's nothing easy about this. I get very unpleasant DMs on occasion, not all the time, but on occasion, and I get people questioning my thoughts and my ideas on the Facebook, and listen, I'm not for everybody. No one is for everybody. But I do believe that there are ways in which women can, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we definitely move our bodies. So why not do it in a really intentional, powerful way that shifts your physiology, rather than sort of the old mainstream narrative, which honestly doesn't work. I mean, low fat doesn't work. Counting calories doesn't work. You know, burning the candle at both ends, it doesn't work. It makes women sicker. It brings on dementia. It brings on heart disease. It brings on a weakened immune system, which in this climate right now is one of a weakened immune system right now in the world is our greatest poverty, is not understanding that our wealth comes from how we support our vessel, because the way that we view the world, our actual perception of the world, comes through not only our experiences, but also how we perceive those experiences. So it's one thing to eat a really healthy diet. It's quite another thing to eat that healthy diet and have all of your transmitters like moving and connecting at such a speed, at such an intensity, that you have that kind of critical discerning thought. I mean, I think if I were eating like boxed chemical food, I would have that sort of like lethargic kind of not questioning, mainstream practices, and I would just do as I was told. So this is like a wake up call. I want to encourage women everywhere, far and wide, like this stage of life, like whether you're in your 40s or your 50s or beyond, it's never too late. You're never too old, and it takes take maybe screwing off the lens of those stories that haven't been serving you or working for you, and stepping into your personal power, stepping into that place that feels a little bit scary. It's like, a curry. It's a little bit spicy, it's a little bit warm, it's a little bit scary, and a little bit salty, right? So that's how I think of this stage of life. Like, definitely there are things that really anger me. And that anger, the ability to feel that anger, the ability to sit with that emotion and really transmute it into something really powerful, into some sort of message. Like this, I sat here after reading this post in this Facebook group, and I thought, oh my God, what is this? Why is this happening? Why is this still the current belief? And there were hundreds of people commenting and agreeing. And it's like, okay, I need to say something about this. So here I am. And I hope that this message lands in your lap. I hope you take it, you make it your own, you find a way to push it forward for you, whatever that means in your life.
Great.
Wow, that was good. That was big. Definitely.
Yep.
So I feel like in wrapping up this segment here, I want to say one very last element in terms of midlife and mindset and health, and how I want to really punctuate this point in saying that this stage of life is quite literally a beginning, and that looking youthful is not. I hope that you take that off, that you sort of release that thought or that feeling that you have to look young, you have to look manicured, you have to look wealthy. Like I want to empower women to really step up and find their voice and follow their truth. And through that truth of living a very purposeful, albeit ancestral life, really true to nature, true to your gifts, true to the things that really are exciting, that really fuel you. I know that in working with women who are truly have like some sort of mysteriously chronic illness, like it's so, although it's debilitating and upsetting to them, like it's really dynamic to me to find those women who find me, and then together in our work together, shifting their physiology and showing them what's possible. Like that inside of me is one of the greatest feelings in the world. Like when we finish up working together and they're like, I can't believe that I lived so long with such a pain in here, or the inability to function, or migraines that were crazy, or, I couldn't breathe, or whatever it is, right? And in working with women and showing them what's possible, it also shows me what women are made of. It shows me like the absolute power that we have in this world to incite change in people when they feel at their best, when they feel like they can tackle the hard things. Because that's what life is really about, right? Like we walk with the fear and the joy, we walk with the pain and the triumph, we walk with the sadness and the abundance that comes from putting ourselves out there and being seen and heard and felt and people coming towards us. And I think that from that place that can happen in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s and beyond. So I want every woman to hear that. I want women to believe in themselves. I want women to see what's available, what's possible if you just decide you're ready. So, Kristen, as always, thank you so much. You ask the
You're
best
welcome.
questions, you keep me on task. And ladies, we're trying to keep this under 30 minutes. So here we are. Thank
We
you
did
so
it.
much. Yeah, we did it. This week we did it. Woo! All right. Thank you so much. If you haven't taken my quiz, Kristen's going to leave it down below in the notes. Take my quiz and hear the secret your hormones are trying to tell you. Thank you
All right.
so much. Take care.
Great. Bye, everyone.